Welcome to Health Butts and Guts, on the forefront of intestinal health and nutrition. Tune in with Mel and Kev for enlightening tales of coffee enemas, perennial bleaching, and holistic teachings. Lovely.
The DMs might be about coffee enemas.
All of our fans. Speaking of,
Ooh, do we have a fan here today?
yeah, she came and knocked on our door.
We're waiting for you. Oh my goodness, I think I'm talking too loud in this microphone. Sorry guys, technical difficulties again. Well, she's not only a fan. What would you call her?
Your friend that you paid to come on to the show.
I'm making the big bucks tonight.
Don't tell anyone about our deal.
I would never. I won't tell anyone about the podcast or anything else you guys do.
Clearly, she's been listening. She probably listens to it more than me or you, Cal.
That's a fact.
I would say that's probably fair.
So, this she that we keep saying she is Miss Lindsey.
Hello.
And Lindsey's been listening to the podcast since day one.
Mm-hmm.
She's
true.
actually a fake fan.
She doesn't do coffee enemas and may have not benefited her life at all.
I'm still trying to figure out why I'm here. You guys could fill me in.
Well, surprise, you're getting a divorce.
Oh.
Not a forecast.
Oh my gosh, I'm just kidding. Not really.
Cal, get it together. Okay, let me take a break.
Come on, you gotta introduce
Okay,
her. I don't know how to do this every
Lindsey
time.
is one of Kelly's good friends. She also is a avid listener to HBG, and she's been drinking the punch. Well, not drinking it through her mouth, but she's been doing coffee enemas, and she's a huge advocate for self-health and learning more about like coffee enemas and all different tricks and tips and things that you can do for yourself that you've been doing. And I think I'm excited at least for this episode because I'm intrigued because you've mentioned things before, like we sat together, that I hadn't heard about, and I'm just so excited to hear the things that you do, and you're glowing, and I know that you're going to share with us all of the benefits that you've experienced from coffee enemas.
Yes. Well, I'm excited to be here. Slightly nervous, but I'm excited mostly overall. And yeah, I would say I've become like oddly passionate about wellness and just finding more natural ways to care for myself and my body and just to feel good overall. So yeah, that's what drew me to you guys, to Health Butts and Guts. Obviously, knowing Kelly brought me there initially, but I've definitely been enjoying the ride with you guys. So yeah, excited to be here and kind of share my experience about all the things you guys talk about.
Did we introduce you to the enema, the coffee enema, or did you start, like, did HBG, or was I talking to you about before we started HBG?
You were talking to me about it before HBG, and actually I think you gave me my first like enema kit probably about a year before you guys launched HBG officially.
And you just sat with it like Mel did?
I
Just
sat with
put
it
in
for a
the
while.
closet?
So a conversation, you look at it, you're like, I'm not ready for you yet.
I had it visually like sitting out for a very long time, and then I actually did put it like up in the closet shelf for a while because I just wasn't ready, and then eventually came to find my moment.
Why did I give it to you?
You gave it to me for my birthday.
Why would I do that?
I think you already knew I was like into the world of wellness and like finding holistic ways to manage things.
I was probably talking to everyone. I mean, I know I do that anyways. Everyone, I'm like, just put coffee in your butt. You'll feel great. Like, oh, you have a headache? Oh, you have what? I don't know. Stomach ache? I don't know what else.
Acne,
Acne.
your hair's falling
Yeah,
out,
I can't think. Yeah, you
your
do.
nails don't grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of came up naturally in
Energy.
conversation. Yeah, and I think you probably gave it to me before I really knew anything much about coffee enemas, but I was still intrigued by it, and then like looking at it every day for the longest time, I was still thinking about it, but I don't know why. I just was nervous, or like didn't feel that like little push to go down the rabbit hole of coffee enemas. And then eventually, I think probably like even more than 6 months after you guys launched HBG, it took me to actually do it. But yeah, it's been, I don't know, close to a year now that I've been doing it, and it's been a really great experience.
Okay, what were your fears? Because I think a lot of people listen in, and anytime I've talked to someone about it, including myself, they're like, oh my gosh, I just think of like how it's gonna go in, where it's gonna go, if I don't retain it, where, like, you know, that just all the fears. What were things that went through your mind that has made you hesitate to do it?
That I feel like is sort of hard to remember. I think it was less about like, I wasn't that scared about like putting it in. I think I was confused about the idea of retention and how much liquid maybe. And I think more than anything, probably I was worried about like doing it right. I'm such a process person, and I want to make sure I do everything exactly like to the T of the recipe, or the, you know, whatever the instructions are. So I think I was nervous about making sure I did it right, and making sure I did it in a sanitary way where I wouldn't like end up causing harm to myself. And then it just kind of sounded like a process. So I think it was just like the whole thing, it just felt like this big to do, and it was just this foreign thing. So I just didn't prioritize getting over like the nerves of it to try it. It took a while to get there.
And Lindsey also asked me so many freaking questions over the amount of like, so do you think I'm, you know, I've read that, you know, you should do it on the left side. I'm like, girl, I told you, I don't know. You read so much controversy on it. Like, it'll tell you, lay on your back, lay on your right side, lay on your left side. I'm like, you have to do it your own way. Like, obviously, my doctor says do it on the right side, but she's so thorough with it. One of the people that was texting me with like, okay, so what about this? How about the temperature? How about, you know, and I'm like, just, did you watch the video? And she's like, 1,000,000 times, you know? Okay, so I guess I need to redo the video. But I love that you're thorough with that, and you actually followed through with like the science of everything that Mel loves to do, and it's like, but Kel, why? And I'm like, I don't freaking know why. So you kind of made me, or you actually just did it yourself. You're like, all right, well, Kel refuses to tell me why. She just says, just do it, and you started researching it and kind of just doing it.
Yeah, and well, and I think I was just nervous, and that's why I wanted like all the information, and I more so wanted like firsthand knowledge from someone who's practicing regularly. So that's why I had a million questions for you, because I watched the video several times, and then I was researching and just trying to like feel really confident that I knew what I was doing. I think I even like watched you do your process like for preparing the coffee, and like, I don't know, getting everything ready to go. Just, I wanted to feel confident like I knew what to do. So once I felt like I knew what to do, it was like, okay, time to rip the Band-Aid off and time to just do it. And honestly, that was the best thing. I needed to experience it so I could like dial it in and figure out my own comfort, my own way. Like now it's like no big deal. It's like, I'm super fast at getting it done, and I really enjoy the process. Like it's like a ritual now, versus like this thing that I was nervous about doing wrong, or I don't know. It's become this cool little wellness practice that I like give myself this time to myself. But yeah, it took me a little while to develop the comfort with it overall, I think, and just the nerves.
Okay, wait, before we, now that we've gone halfway through your story, let's start from the beginning. Before I start asking, how many enemas a day? Da, 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 da. So let's start from like when you started doing the enemas, and then walk us through your journey with it. Like starting, if you can do that. I mean, timelines for me suck, but maybe you can you do that?
I think so, yeah. And honestly, I'll backtrack it just a little bit even from starting, because I feel like the thing that actually got me to really start was I had gone through like some health struggles, and realistically it was after I had COVID. I didn't have a difficult time with the virus, but after I had it, my body went through all these weird changes, and it was like I felt like I knew myself, and then I didn't know my body at all, and I didn't know how to anticipate what it was going to do or how to keep myself feeling good and healthy. I went through a weight gain. I went through like a lot of gut troubles where
From
I was just
COVID?
well, I don't know if it was from COVID, but it was definitely after having it. Like just my whole digestion changed, and I just went through like a handful of things that lasted for a long time, and my gut really took like a big toll during that time, and I just felt like I had like a rock in my lower gut, and I never felt good. I just felt off and heavy.
Did you have regular poops?
I think no, actually, even that changed. Like the way I was pooping was different than it had been. Frequency, even the way it was, just everything was different, and I just felt different. I felt kind of crappy all the time. Like I was carrying around stuff in my gut that wasn't just like eliminating itself like it would normally. And so through that, I kind of went on this journey of like, okay, I'm not happy with how I'm feeling. I'm not happy with how I'm looking, because I actually gained a good amount of weight in a short period of time after that.
I feel like a lot of people during COVID did that.
Yeah, well, and it wasn't from like drinking a bunch. I was working the whole time, but it was like my body stopped functioning well, and I don't know, it happened quickly. And so I think I gained close to 30 pounds in like 5 months. It was not a slow process.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see
All
it.
in the booty.
Thank goodness. But I think it was like in the fall of maybe 2021, I just kind of had it with the way I felt and how I was like looking, and just every day I just kind of didn't feel like myself. And so I started thinking about what my goal was and what I wanted to do, and I started like dialing in on gut health basically, and started learning about that and researching different ways to approach gut health.
I'm drinking your coffee.
You can drink my coffee. And so, I started dabbling in different things, started doing probiotics and prebiotics and increasing my water intake. I don't remember what I was doing specifically at that time. I know I was drinking like kombucha regularly and trying to have some fermented things, but I think I had a probiotic supplement I was using. I just can't think of what one it was. I have one I use now, but I more so do like the fermented foods thing.
Can you get back to us on what the probiotics you were taking, just so we can put it on the blog?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I know the one that I still keep around now is by a company called Ritual, which they like source their products cleanly, and you can like look into where they get everything so you know where it's coming from. But I'll figure out what the other one was. It was also a very good company. So just started exploring all the things of gut health. At that time, I also made the choice to cut out gluten to see if that would help with some of the stuff I was experiencing.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, it's not my favorite club to be a part of, but my body's happier. I still struggle with the balance of it, but overall it's a really good thing for me. But I think as I was kind of going down that journey of gut health, you, Kelly, really were like a good friend
They
to.
call me Kel around here.
This is true. I might call you Kelp here and there. I don't know. But yeah, I think I started asking you a lot of questions, and coffee enema was definitely like a quick answer typically. But even then, I was still kind of like, for some reason, shying away from that idea. So it took me, I think, probably 5 or 6 months from that time.
And the candy, I'm sorry. And cheese. Can you edit that, camera guy, at minute? Just kidding.
That's okay. But yeah, I started to make changes, and I'm starting to notice myself feeling better. And then as I was realizing that, I'm like, okay, there's something to this gut health, so I'm just gonna go for it. And so I think it was probably about 6 months later, even from that point, that I finally was like, okay, I'm ready to get serious about trying the coffee enema, Kel. What what do I need to know? Like, remind me, walk me through it again. I know you have videos, I know there's information, I've researched, I need you to talk to me about it. And so I think that's probably when the 1,000 questions really kicked into gear. And I think it was about May of 2022 that I finally was like, okay, I'm ready, and we went for it. And it was pretty much a pretty solid experience from the start. Like, it went smoothly. I didn't have any issues with the process. Really found my comfort in that. But
Where'd you do it?
I did it at home in my restroom.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, on the floor. I don't have a tub in the bathroom that I prefer to use at home, and so I just made myself a nice little spot that I felt comfortable in, brought a pillow in, that's now my bathroom pillow, and yeah, just kind of found a nice little space to be comfortable in, and it was, honestly, I felt great after the first one. I loved it the first time I did it. And it wasn't—
No issues?
No issues,
I don't
nothing,
remember.
no mess, no oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm about to lose it, or I was able to retain it. I think, I don't remember how long, but I want to say over 10 minutes on the first
Really
one.
good.
Yeah. And I think I downed the dose a little bit, started slow like you guys had suggested, but it went smoothly, and
You made 2 tablespoons of coffee instead of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Diluted it? Okay.
Yes.
So after the first time, how long after that did you do your next one?
I think I did it the very next week. I think I spaced it out maybe close to a week or just shy. And then I was kind of doing it once a week for a little while as I was getting my bearings with it, or finding my comfort with it too. And I don't know, being nervous about overdoing it, which I don't know that there's necessarily such a thing, but I don't know, it was kind of just following my body too and what it was telling me. So yeah, I think I started just maybe once a week was my standard process at the beginning. But I had people asking me about it right away because I've been wearing that Health Butts and Guts sticker on my water bottle for a while. So I remember about a month after I started being at a baby shower and the after hangout, and people are like, what's the sticker about? And
Tell them you're a porn star.
I did have
Someone told me that.
I had a friend tell me that they thought it looks like a
Oh,
porn
really?
logo. Yeah.
Some porn logo, I guess, looks like it.
That's
Yeah.
what that weird guy was like.
Following me home with my sticker on my car.
Yes. Yeah, so I remember talking about it about a month after I had started doing it, and people were just shocked by it, but wanted to know more. So it's kind of a fun
Welcome
topic.
to our life.
Right. I see why you guys like to talk about it. People are very intrigued.
So then after you started doing it weekly, when did you really start to I guess I crave it, if that makes sense, especially after I hang out with Sean. Cause he just loves to eat meat and burgers and stuff like that, and so I like that too, but it's not my regular diet. So, and then I'll probably drink more than because I don't really drink during the week. So on the weekends I'm okay, well, I'll have a drink here or there. I don't even drink as much as I used to. But after he leaves, one, I'm not even regular in going to the bathroom. I probably don't the whole weekend that he's here.
Do you have a fear of going to the bathroom around him? Or just
It's
your
not
body?
a fear. It's just my space right now is so small, and the door and the walls are just thinner, and I have one bathroom that's in my space. So it's I just don't feel okay, I could just relax and sit in here and make any noise that I want, and he's not gonna react to it, you know? And then, whatever comes from it, if it's smell, anything like that, it's just I don't wanna deal with it, you know? So I just
You're a
don't
lady.
Keeping
deal
that
with it.
romance alive. I get it.
Yeah, but it's funny because I feel the less I go or do it, he's gonna murder me, the more he's just letting it all hang out, he doesn't care. I'm this is not fair. You can,
It's a comfort level.
it's not fair. But
I
anyway,
poop with the door open.
you poop with the door open?
I enema with the door open. I show Damien like I'm like, babe, there's a string.
Okay, I get it coming out. I get like that, but like to sit there and be like, whatever all the noises and the smell, you don't care.
I care more if the neighbor hears it than Damien's fully aware, and now he's doing it like in Texas. He does it upstairs while I'm doing it downstairs. We do it at the same time.
I think that's great, but I just the whole like door open,
The
releasing, the sounds, the smell, like I don't know.
I was more shy about it at first. So we have an apartment. We do have 2 bathrooms, but the way we have our place set up is my husband has a studio for recording and whatnot, and we put it in the master bedroom because it shares no walls with any neighbors and it's not above anyone. So we're on the 2nd floor, and so the master bathroom is the bathroom that I use. It's like the bathroom I shower in and get ready in and everything, and so it's like my comfortable spot. So that's where I go to do my enema. So when I was first doing it, if he'd be back there, like when I would go to release, I'd like turn on the water and waste water so he wouldn't hear me.
Yeah.
But like now, after doing it for better part of a year, I'm like, if he's there, he's there. He can walk away if he wants to. But he has actually been recording before, but not like something mic'd. But like where he's plugged in with an electric guitar and he's fully recording while I'm releasing, and it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, it's natural. Your body does it. Makes it more entertaining for me.
I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm still like, I'm not there. I don't know if I ever would be, but I guess it just depends on the person that you're with. Like if they're
comfortable
like,
too.
yeah, and it doesn't bother them. And I feel like Sean's like really like comfortable and like he's not like judgmental or anything like that. But I don't know, like for me, I just feel like, I don't know, like I wouldn't do that, but kudos to you guys to feel comfortable to do
It
it.
took me a while.
I worked with a girl that she would not even brush her teeth in front of her man. She's like, there's things that they just don't need to see, and that like kind of what you said earlier, keep the romance alive. And I'm like,
Brushing your teeth? That's
Yeah,
weird.
She didn't like him to see her. She worked with me at Mac.
With no makeup on.
No makeup on, so she would transition, and she wasn't an attractive girl. Like she wasn't even with a full face of makeup. You know what I mean? So it was. I'm being honest. It's not like
Wait, would she
sleep
sleep with her makeup on?
No.
Oh.
She just didn't like him to see the transition. So like saying like with the brushing of the teeth, she didn't want him to see like the getting ready. She's like, that's gross. Like I'm spitting out, and I'm like, what?
It's like 50s housewife, like where they would try and be all put together before the husband woke up in the morning.
Okay, but I'm just trying to understand the makeup part. She wears full makeup, and then what? She turns off, washes her face, turns off the light, gets in bed, wakes up before he wakes up, puts on her makeup.
No. He's seen her without makeup. She just doesn't like him to see the transition,
like
the
a her applying.
the process. The process. I
Oh,
guess.
wow.
That's why like the brushing of the teeth is the process of it. Mascara, like the fucking process. I don't know the transition of it.
And it's just, it's fascinating to
Yeah,
me
it's
because
weird.
it sounds like it's like a psychological kind of like, you
They're
know,
probably
something
divorced
that's
now.
like,
Like what's
they were married? They were married?
I don't know.
Oh, I
How
was like,
long ago-
that's crazy.
How long ago did they work at Mac? Like maybe almost 20 years ago. I don't know, 18 years ago. Gosh, we're old.
I was just gonna say, didn't we just graduate? Feels like
Anyway,
that.
we
Okay,
just
so,
went on a bird walk. Sorry.
so you release with the door open, but
I'm usually a door closed, and that's mostly like for him. I'm pretty comfortable now, but he would prefer to keep some things romantic, and so I respect that, and that's okay. But no, as far as like being uncomfortable with like the noise and whatnot, it is what it is at this point, and I don't know, I don't feel like we have too much issue with like smell at this point, because I feel like everything stays very clean, and I don't know, it's not such a big deal. I feel like I was much more concerned about it when I was first starting.
okay, so go back before the bird walk. So do you like crave it now, or do you, like want it more, do it more often? If you don't do it, do you like feel off or?
Yeah, I definitely really like it as a part of my regular life. I don't necessarily do it every single day, but there are weeks where I might. But kind of like you were saying, like if you have a weekend where you drink more or you consume things you wouldn't normally, like I prefer to have gluten once a week at least, because, or pretty much once a week if I can keep myself honest, because I want to be able to process gluten, and so I do that. So really, like I like to do it for a few days after I have gluten, just because I feel like it helps my body kind of get back to where it's supposed to be. But yeah, like if I go out of town and we go on vacation and we're drinking most days, I recently visited a friend and I was gone for a week and we drank pretty much every day while I was there, which is not something I do in life really anymore. And so I came back from that trip and I was like every day I was doing one just to like feel regular again and feel normal, because I didn't feel like myself in my body.
Did you bring your bucket on your trip?
I did actually.
Did you do an enema?
I did 3 enemas while I was there, but I was gone for 8 days, and drinking every night, definitely I was feeling it. But I will say I didn't have any hangovers, and the girls, I was there with 2 girls, and they were like shocked at how I like stayed up late with them, did all the drinking with them, had all the fun, and then the next day I was like fine and I could work. Like I got up and worked my normal work day and did my enema on the few days that I did them, and it was great.
Before you did the enemas, did you have bad hangovers?
Yes. And there's still moments where a hangover is going to happen no matter what,
Right.
but I feel like moreover, it's pretty rare I have like a real full-on hangover at this point.
I don't puke. Like my gut is, I swear, healed, and this is the scariest thing ever, because I'm like, I can cure myself with an enema like so quick. So I'm like, oh, I'll party.
I
and
can
I'll
do
drink.
anything.
Yeah, and then now I'm like, I used to go to Vegas and I'm puking for 2 days because I can't handle the alcohol. Now I'm like, I just got a slight headache, nothing, a little in and out protein style burger won't cure me, and some iced tea. It's the worst, but it's the best.
Yeah, it's a little scary to feel like you have the power to control that, but it's also a fabulous tool to use if you need to be a functional human in life. So, yeah, especially too, I feel like we have not drank like we used to for some time now, and so then you have one big night and you're just like, oh, that could be murderous to your body, and now it's like, all right, I could do that every once in a while and cut loose and act like I'm a 20-year-old again and be okay the next day.
Yeah, I feel like after doing enemas more regularly than I ever did them, that I don't crave to drink as much alcohol as I used to. Like I'm good drinking it slower and just like maybe having like 1 or 2 drinks maybe. And it actually, I feel like it hits me quicker than it did before.
It probably does because you're healthy.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you.
And I'm just like, oh, I don't know, but at least it's like kind of nice. You're just like, okay, I get my buzz on, like my first drink or 2, and I'm good, and I'm done. And then, like you said, you're not as hungover. If you aren't feeling well, you just do it in the morning, then you're like good to go.
Yes, yeah. And then I've supplemented too, honestly, with Kelly's advice, just like you can do a broth enema and just re-nutrient your body. So I've done that a couple times and it's been kind of amazing too. Just kind of getting like electrolytes and some good stuff back into your system quickly. So I've
As
done
an enema or drinking it after?
Well, both actually. I like to drink like bone broth, like a little small coffee cup of bone broth in the morning, especially after I do an enema, just to make sure that I'm getting something into my system right away. But yeah, I have done both.
So what are the benefits that you've gotten over your fears, you do it more regularly, it's a habit, you feel good, and like the whole like talking about drinking stuff, but what other things have you found have really like helped you, and not just yourself have noticed, like other people have noticed?
There's a handful of things in all honesty. One, I will say it's just kind of come over time with my body feeling better and my system working better. I dropped all that weight that I had gained that year, and I've been able to keep it off without
30 pounds?
Yeah, 30 pounds. Yep. Yeah, from the highest number I saw on the scale to I'm actually just well, maybe not today, but like I've been just over 30 pounds under that number. So that's been a cool thing just to see that not only did it help it come off like slowly over time, but also I've been able to maintain that without it feeling like this huge chore, like I'm having to work ultra hard to do that. So it feels like it's been healthy. And then like my skin has been a lot better overall. I feel like I don't know if I just feel better and I just feel like I look different, but I feel like it's softened some of the, you know, aging that's come across my face, and even like the skin on my chest I feel like looks a little bit better than it had. And then overall just the way my skin feels too. And I'm a person who's experienced breakouts over life, and I feel like that's been much more manageable and like just more consistent since having this as a regular practice in life.
You look glowy. You know what it's called? What it is?
What is it?
Glutathione.
I've heard about that glutathione. Does
I'm telling you,
amazing
they
things.
literally, LA, they charge a lot of money to get injections
Yes.
for anti-aging, and when you do a coffee enema, your body can produce that glutathione by 600%.
Which
So it
is
makes
fabulous.
complete sense that not only are you losing weight is just a side effect, but
Mhm.
your skin is glowing from the inside out. Like so many people, makeup artists ask me like, oh, what product should I use? And I'm like, water, lemon water.
You're like water, coffee.
Water in your mouth, coffee in your butt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that, because lately people have been telling me like, you look so skinny, you've lost so much weight. I'm like, okay, first, how fat was I and did I look before this? And I'm like, no, I thought it was like my hair is getting longer, you know, kind of like makes your face look longer. And I don't feel like I've like lost a bunch of weight. I feel kind of like I haven't, just because I haven't been able to work out and stuff after my hip surgery. But the more I like think about it, and you saying that, and Kel kind of mentioned it the other day, I was like, I have lost this 10 pounds that I actually gained from like the steroids and all the crap that I was on from all of my chemo that I was never able to get rid of. And I'm like, okay, that's gone. Like I got rid of that one, and then the rest of the stuff that I'm not at my normal base is just because I haven't been able to work out or like really eat my regular regime. But
Yeah.
I love that you're saying that, because it does make sense, and it just connects all of the dots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the way my gut felt before too, I felt like I was carrying like a 10-pound rock
Do you
just
feel like
sitting here.
Gucci too, and like now
Yeah.
you're more flat?
Yeah, well, for sure that, but even like the way it felt like there was weight there. Like it was just like holding on to a mass of something that is not there now, which I'm thrilled. Like I feel so much better. Another thing would be like my energy level feels great. I was so tired and felt like just fatigued so frequently previously. And I don't know, getting this whole system running properly, I feel like I have way more energy, way more like desire to go and do things. Whereas that whole year when I went through all that health stuff and that weight gain and everything, I didn't want to do anything. It was like pulling teeth to get me off the couch. I was down, I was a little bit depressed. And I do really believe in the relationship of your gut to your brain and, you know, all that stuff. And I feel like all of that has dramatically improved in my life, which has been incredible. And I mean, losing some weight and glowing, and that's like super great, but how I feel overall as a human and as a woman and a wife, a friend, a daughter, like all the things, I feel like I'm a better person and I'm happier in my life because I just feel in control of my situation. So that's probably my favorite part of it, but I mean, obviously the physical things are what people notice. But yeah, the energy's been a huge thing. Like I'm more productive at work, I'm more productive in my household, I want to be around people more. I don't know, just so many things it's benefited.
When did you, so you started off doing them weekly, and I know you didn't mention this yet, but I know you were doing them daily.
Yeah, I go through periods where I'm doing them daily. Like actually right now I have been pretty much doing them daily since I actually about a month ago came back home from that trip. I just felt so outside of myself after drinking way too much and just not enough sleep and all the things. I just kind of got into the practice of doing it every day, and then now I'm enjoying it. just being a part of my daily routine. I typically, I guess, am taking like one day off in the weekend, but that's life and we're busy and we've got things going on. But doing it daily has been really nice, honestly. It's been very great also for like my regular coffee consumption. We have a joke in our household now where my husband in the morning's like, you want coffee, or are you gonna have mouth coffee, or are you gonna have butt coffee? And so we kind of have a funny back and forth about it. But now he almost doesn't really ask me about regular coffee in the morning because he knows I'm kind of gonna go do my thing first, and then maybe I'll have a cup in the afternoon. But honestly, a lot of days I don't have any more coffee, and I feel great, and my energy will sustain throughout the day. So that's been nice too. Just reducing caffeine consumption on the other side has been a good thing, I think.
Were you one of those people that you'd wake up in the morning and you're like, I have to have my coffee, or I need a cup of coffee, or?
I think I more was a habitual coffee drinker. I don't feel like I needed the caffeine, but I liked the warm beverage in the morning. I would try to not have it like first thing waking. Wait for like a little while at least, or have some hot water if I really wanted something warm, or water with lemon. But I did pretty religiously have a cup of coffee in the morning at some point. So that's a shift in practice too. Just kind of listening to what my body wants or needs.
And I love that of course, I would say it's all the coffee enema, but you changed a lot of your lifestyle. Like you said, you tried doing gluten-free, dairy-free, but you're still, it's in your life. It's balance, right? That's what we talk about all the time, is like trying to figure out the balance. And then going to probiotics, I don't know if you said working out, but
when I get
definitely.
myself to. I want to say yes, but I don't want to lie.
Yeah. Which is crazy. So you weren't really working out that much, and you still lost not just 30 pounds, but that's freaking crazy to lose that much weight, and just from enemas and changing your diet a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I did really go primarily dairy-free for quite some time, but I feel like doing the coffee enemas has really, and like all the other things as well, but the way I've been living, my body and my gut, I feel like have been healed so much to the point now where dairy does not bother me. I still do it moderately, and I kind of pick and choose what types of dairy I want, but it doesn't seem to affect me negatively at this point, which has really been interesting, just to kind of watch and see what happens and test different things out. But I feel like the gluten is such a hard thing for me to give up, because all my favorite things have gluten in them, and they're not, or their traditional form. And so being able to bring back something that I always did enjoy was kind of a nice benefit too of the whole process.
What do you notice when you have it?
When I have dairy or gluten?
Either or. Why do you take them out?
Okay, so the gluten I took out because after I had COVID, I was one of the people who had super achy joints, to the point where laying in bed and having the blanket pull my feet down just with the weight of the blanket made my ankles ache and my toes ache, and my wrists and my fingers, everything all day long was aching really bad. And so I had obviously been complaining about it a lot to people around me, because in 1 week I think I had 3 different people tell me to consider trying gluten-free for that. You were one of them, Cal, but 2 other people but 2 other people in that same little scope of time were like, you should just try it. And so that was actually the thing that tipped me off on this whole okay, I'm gonna start trying some lifestyle changes journey. And so I went gluten-free. I realized by around the 3rd week, I thought about it and I was like, I haven't been achy for at least a couple days. Nothing is aching like it was. And I was just well, really, I was kind of pissed off about it because I didn't want to give up gluten, but then I was also
story of my life.
Right, all the things that you give up, there's a reason for it. But it made me realize the power of lifestyle changes also, and so that probably also really set me off into this journey and going down the rabbit hole of all the different wellness things that you can just apply to your own life on your own without having intervention from a medical professional or from, you know, someone that you have to go pay or whatever. I could just research and learn and talk to my friend who's passionate about the subject and just try things and see what worked for me. So that's been a huge part of my process overall, is just trial and error and research and, you know, finding sources you trust, and some sources you're like, I don't know if I should trust, but it seems like an interesting thing to try. And yeah, it's been a really up and down, but mostly up journey, I feel like, overall.
I love it. So, what is your next thing to conquer?
My next thing to conquer is definitely to move more and be more active. Because I still haven't done a great job of bringing that back into my world, and I know that will only help everything else I'm doing. And I would love to be stronger and more just capable as a human. So that's definitely the next thing on my radar. Been thinking about it a lot for a while, so it's time to actually put it into practice.
Well,
You
now you
should
have
try
that
out.
energy.
Yeah, you should try out Pilates.
Pilates I
some
love,
She's
actually.
gonna do the Lennon method with us.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna try that. I've never done bar before. I'm a little nervous about it, but
Let me know how it goes, because I saw it and done it.
You did it. You did it on video. We have it on YouTube.
Yeah,
Watch that one
real
either.
thing.
well, I hear I'm gonna be sore in the weirdest places, and that it's much harder than it looks. So I like a good challenge, though, and I am excited to start going down that path, because that is absolutely the next thing that I mean, I've done so many things with diet, so many things with just wellness practices. I do some meditation, I do some breathing. I've started doing more like reading, in whether it's like more self-help type topics or more like just things that I want to learn about and get more knowledge in. And so just being more active is big time on my radar.
Aw. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing all this with us. I know
Do you
that I
have-
learned
Sorry,
about
go ahead.
it. No, what?
I was just gonna ask if you have one piece of advice for someone that's maybe considering the coffee enema, and I know I just tell everyone, just do it, just do it, just do it. What would your advice be to someone that's never tried it, never heard it? Because I know you've talked to a lot, you've actually gotten a handful of people to try it.
I have recently, actually, and I've noticed I've been talking to so many people about it because people want to know what I'm doing, and you know how I'm looking, how I look now in comparison to how I was before, and I seem to be just thriving, is what I keep hearing, and so.
You look good, girl.
Thank you. I think probably the biggest thing would be you're not going to be totally comfortable with it. So kind of like you said, just do it. Just, you know, make sure you have the right tools to do it and do a little research so you know what you're doing, but just do it. Because I would have loved it if I would have gotten myself to try it sooner. Like just with how this experience has been, like why didn't I just suck it up and just go for it? And I just let myself and my thoughts and my worries get in the way of that. And so yeah, if you're considering it and you're interested and you're not like overtly scared of trying this new thing, I would say just go for it, because you're not gonna know until you try it. And I had 2 people recently try it for their first time in my world, and one of them, you know, both of them had a good experience. One of them had a little bit more difficulty, but still got through it and was like, that wasn't that bad. It was not what I expected it to be. So it's much less scary in doing it than it is in thinking about what it's gonna be. So yeah, just rip off that Band-Aid and go for it.
Nice. Well, we're not going to tell anyone that you were on here.
Me neither. I wouldn't dream of it.
We might put it on YouTube, but we're not sure yet.
We'll see how the angle is of that camera.
Yeah, it might just be audio.
I can deal with that. I won't tell anyone though. So don't worry. No subscriptions, no viewers, nothing.
True.
Well, thanks so much. We love you. This is so much fun.
Thank you for having me. It's my first podcast, so thanks for that. This has been so much fun.
Woohoo.
Oh, your story was great. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm going to send everyone to Lindsey when they're texting or DMing about coffee enemas. I'm like, all right, go to the source. Go to the source. 'Cause
She's
I
our
feel like
ambassador now.
Yeah, she's done enough research for.
Yeah, I've definitely done a lot of research, and I was telling Kelly as kind of a final funny thought. I was talking to a friend of mine. I was just messaging back and forth through Instagram about it while I was doing an enema, and we're going back and forth, and I'm like just typing away and having a great like back and forth with her. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I should check my timer. And suddenly I'm at like 19 minutes instead of 15 minutes because it just flew by because I was just having a great time talking about it and sharing information. So yeah, feel free to send people my way. I'm happy to talk about it anytime.
Well, thank you so much. We love you.
Thanks, Mel and Kel. I love you guys.
Bye.